Asian options. An Asian option is defined as one whose payoff will be a function of the arithmetic average of the underlying asset price. Again, there are different variations to this definition. So here, although we have mentioned is as an arithmetic average, you can have certain Asian options which can have a geometric average which can be computed as well. So that way, that kind of flexibility can be given. But in general, it will be an idea of averaging, which will be used in order to figure out what's the payoff for an Asian option. Now, how the average gets calculated can also change as per the definition of the contract. So, averages can either be computed in a discrete manner or it can be done in a continuous manner. Generally, you'll observe that in the market, the discrete averaging is more commonly done because that is something which we can more clearly specify. Because then we know that at specific points in time, we are going to look at the price and we are going to use it for computing the average. So that eliminates any kind of subjectivity because then we know at these points, these are the observation points and these are when we are going to compute the average as such. So that's why generally we prefer a discrete averaging over continuous averaging. Now, four common types of Asian options are mentioned in the table below. We'll walk through them. So we'll assume K as the strike price in all the cases. We'll say ST is the final asset price and SAVE or S average is the average asset price. So an average price call can be given by a payoff which looks as max of S of average minus K or 0. So whereby we take an average of the asset price during the life of the contract. And so it will be S average minus K. Average price put, it will be max of K minus S average or 0. Average strike call. So here if you see there is no presence of K in these. So K is missing. But there we are replacing the K by something else and that something else is nothing but our average asset price. So for average strike call, we'll have a max of ST minus S average comma 0. And for average strike put, it will be max of S average minus ST or 0. So this can also be thought of like a floating strike variety. So this is another name which you will come across in literature. This is a floating strike option. And these are what we call as a fixed strike varieties. So these are common terminologies which are used a lot in literature as well. But then these are the four variations which we typically observe for an Asian option. Now we'll observe that Asian options are cheaper as compared to a plain vanilla option. And they are also a very, very popular product for trading as well as for hedging purposes. Now, let's take an example whereby Asian option can come useful and also this will help us understand the fact as to how it can work out to be cheaper as compared to an equivalent vanilla option or a set of vanilla options. So let's take a certain company that repatriates its foreign exchange earnings each week. So that way we'll assume 52 working weeks during the year. So we can imagine that the company is going to be involved in 52 such repatriations during the year, one at each week. Now, the yearly profit and loss for the company will depend on the average exchange rate during the year. So the company may find it useful or beneficial to use an Asian option, which will consider an average exchange rate during the year. Now, this will be much better as a representation because then from your annual earnings or annual profitability, they are going to consider something which they have done over the year. That is more like an average of transactions over the year. So that way, using an Asian option fits the bill really nicely. So it will be like a right representative of the price which is being used in order to compute their payoffs. Also, the other advantage for the company is it will also reduce the volatility in their P&L numbers. And that is generally what we like, isn't it? Now, every firm is going to want to have minimum amount of variations or fluctuations when it comes to their P&L or other financials. So that way, if we end up using an average exchange rate, then we know that the average exchange rate will not be worse than a particular exchange rate as such, because then we are taking an average, isn't it? Further, this will also be much cheaper as compared to buying 52 separate or independent vanilla options for each week repatriation because It's an easy calculation. You're buying one Asian option versus 52 of vanilla options. So naturally, these vanilla options are going to be more expensive. So that's why we can say that the Asian option will work out to be cheaper as compared to a vanilla option.